Welcome back to my channel. If you could take a moment to see if you're subscribed, hit that bell. Also hit me a like if you can, it would really help me out in the algorithm. Let's begin. You ever had one of those moments where reality just bends? Like for a second, something glitches and you're the only one who notices. That happened to me about 2 years ago, and I haven't slept right since. It started on a Tuesday afternoon. I remember because I was walking home from my job at the local bookstore, same route I've taken for years. I live in a quiet neighbourhood just outside the city. Safe, predictable, nothing strange ever happens here, or nothing used to. So I'm walking past this little park. Nothing fancy, just a swing set, couple of benches, some trees. I glance up and see this man sitting on one of the benches. A black hoodie, jeans, just sitting there, staring ahead. And for some reason, he catches my eye. Not because he's doing anything weird, but because I've never seen him before. And in a neighbourhood like mine, that's unusual. Still, whatever, I keep walking. A minute later, I glance over my shoulder. Don't even know why, and the bench is empty. Now I know what you're thinking. Maybe he got up and left. But the park is wide open. There's no path, no trees near the bench, and he was sitting right in the middle. If he'd moved, I'd have seen it. But he didn't. It was like he vanished, like someone cut him out of the scene. I stood there for a long time, just staring at the empty bench, my skin prickling. Eventually I shook it off and kept walking. But that was just the beginning. The next day I seen him again. Same bench, same black hoodie, same blank stare, like a copy-paste of the day before. This time I slow down, I look right at him. He doesn't react, doesn't move, doesn't even blink. I say, "Hey, you alright?" Nothing. I take a step closer, still nothing. And then, poof, I blink and he's gone. I didn't mean he got up and walked away. I mean I blinked and he just wasn't there anymore. No sound, no movement, just gone. I backed away fast, heart pounding. I looked all around the park. I was the only one there. I didn't sleep that night. For a while I thought maybe I was just stressed, overworked, sleep deprived. I told myself I imagined it, but then it happened again. And again. Every Tuesday, same time, same bench, same man. He never moved, never looked at me, never aged. He just sat there, until he didn't. And it wasn't just the park. I started seeing him in other places, standing on the sidewalk across from my apartment, leaning against a lamppost downtown. Once, I saw him reflected in a shop window, but when I turned round, no one was there. Always the same hoodie, same jeans, same blank stare. It was like he was watching me, or waiting for me, and every time I tried to confront him, he'd vanish. I started avoiding the park. I changed my route, but it didn't help. He'd just show up somewhere else. I started feeling watched, constantly. I'd be in my apartment, door locked, curtains drawn, and I'd feel it. That cold sensation crawling up your spine when someone's behind you. I'd turn around and of course, nothing. But one night around 3 a.m, I woke up to a sound, a faint tapping like fingernails on glass. My heart dropped. I live on the 3rd floor. There's no balcony. I sat up slowly, barely breathing. The tapping came again. 3 slow, deliberate taps on the bedroom window. I didn't want to look. I knew who it would be, but I had to. I pulled back the curtain just a little, and there he was, standing on nothing, face inches from the glass, staring straight at me. I stumbled backward, my heart slamming against my ribs. I grabbed my phone to call someone, anyone, but by the time I looked back, he was gone. The next morning, I checked outside. No footprints, no ladder, nothing. Just an empty street and the same quiet park in the distance. I tried talking to people, my friends, my boss, and even a therapist. They gave me that same polite smile, that maybe you should get some rest look. No one believed me. So I stopped telling them. But I started keeping a journal, writing down every time I saw him, where, when, what he was wearing. I thought maybe there was a pattern. And there was. He always showed up near places I'd just left or was about to visit, like he was tracking my movements, staying one step ahead or behind. Then one day I got bold. I snapped a photo of the park where he was sitting. It was in the middle of the day, plenty of light. I figured, okay, maybe I can prove this to myself that he's real. But when I checked the photo, yep, the bench was empty. It didn't matter how many times I tried, he never appeared in a single picture, like he didn't exist. But I know what I saw. I know he was there. Last time I saw him was the worst. It was raining, heavy, cold, late November storm. I was walking home, trying to ignore that feeling crawling over my skin, when I saw him standing across the street. No umbrella, no hood up, just standing there, getting soaked, staring at me. And for the first time, he moved. He stepped off the curb. I froze. He walked across the street, eyes locked on mine, and something in me snapped. I ran, sprinting down the streets, through alleyways, anywhere to lose him. I didn't stop until I got home, slammed the door, and locked every bolt. Then I checked my window. He was standing in the courtyard below, looking up at me, and he smiled. Just once. A slow, awful smile that didn't reach his eyes. Then he lifted his hand and pointed straight at me. He whispered something I couldn't hear. I didn't sleep that night either, all the night after. But after that, nothing. He vanished. No more sightings, no more tapping, nothing in window, just silence. And here's the thing, I should feel relief, right? But I don't, because now I wonder, where did he go? Why did he appear in the first place? And what if he comes back? I've started seeing little things lately, shadows in corners, doors that I'm sure I closed, suddenly swinging open. That faint feeling of static in the air, like a TV screen just out of sight. I think he opened something in me, or maybe followed me through some kind of glitch, a crack in the world, and maybe next time he won't just be watching. Story number 2. You know that feeling when something in your life shifts, just a little, but no one else notices? That's what happened to me. At first I thought it was just a bad morning. You know the kind, alarm didn't go off, coffee machine spilled everywhere, shirt was wrinkled even though I swore I ironed it, but things didn't really start to feel wrong until I got to work. I walked in the office and felt it instantly, that weird pressurized silence, like everyone had just stopped talking the second before you arrived. People glanced at me, then quickly looked away, not in a rude way, in a confused way. I sat down at my desk, and everything was off. My chair was adjusted too high, my keyboard was swapped out for one I didn't recognise. There was a plant on my desk I never bought. I thought maybe someone had moved things around, playing a prank. But when I asked my co-worker, Jenna, She gave me this puzzled look and said, "Didn't you switch desks last week?" "I've been at this desk for 2 years," I said. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. No, you moved near the window after the team reshuffle." There was a desk near the window with some of my stuff on it. Same model computer, same stack of sticky notes I use, but I had no memory of moving. I even checked my email. Sure enough, there was a thread with our manager approving the move. From me. My name, my writing style, everything. But I never sent that message. I told myself I must have just forgotten. Maybe I'd zoned out that week. Maybe I was more tired than I realised. But then I got home, and someone was already inside. I'm not joking. I unlocked my front door, stepped into my living room, and heard movement upstairs. My blood went ice cold. I grabbed the nearest heavy object, a lamp, and crept up the stairs, and that's when I heard the voice. My voice. Singing softly in the bathroom. It was a song I always hum in the shower. Some dumb little tune I made up years ago. No lyrics, just a melody. And someone else was humming it. I kicked open that door, ready to swing the lamp, and stopped dead. There was no one in the bathroom. Steam still clung to the mirror. The shower was dripping like someone had just turned it off. And on the counter, a toothbrush. My toothbrush. Wet, with fresh toothpaste smudged around the bristles. I backed out slowly, heart hammering in my chest. I searched the whole house, every room, every closet. No one. But little things kept confirming it. Drawers were slightly off, my socks were in the wrong place, the cereal I hated had been replaced with a brand I never buy. Someone else was living there, as me. I told my friend Tyler about it the next day. He laughed at first, thought I was kidding, but then I showed him my calendar. It had meetings and appointments I didn't remember, places I had supposedly been, people I'd met, dinners I'd scheduled. He looked at me, dead serious, and said, "Man, I saw you at that bar last weekend. You waved at me." I didn't go to any bar last weekend. I was sick, in bed, alone. Or at least I thought I was. That's when it hit me. Someone or something was living my life, perfectly mimicking me, replacing pieces of my routine bit by bit, and no one could tell. Even worse, they seemed to prefer it. I started to fade out of conversations. People forgot to include me in emails. My own mother accidentally called me Daniel, my brother's name, and when I corrected her, she just blinked and said, "Oh, I thought you were Daniel." It got worse fast. One day I showed up at work and my badge didn't work. Security didn't recognise me. I tried to log into my computer. It was locked. Password was changed. And when I looked through my window into my old office, I saw myself, sitting at the desk, typing, smiling, wearing my clothes, my watch, even tapping his foot like I do. But it wasn't me, because I was on the other side of the glass. I don't know how long I stood there before someone asked me to leave. I didn't fight it, I just walked away. I stopped going home. I started sleeping in my car, watching my house from a distance. He comes and goes like I used to. Feeds the cat, pays the bills, mows the lawn. Everyone believes he's me. He even started dating my ex again. I saw them through the window, laughing over wine like nothing had ever gone wrong. It's like whatever this is, it's a better version of me. More confident, more charming, more successful. But I'm still me, aren't I? I've started wondering if I somehow split, like reality forked, and there wasn't room for two of us. So the glitch fixed it, and I got left on the wrong side, the useless side. Sometimes I think about confronting him, walking up to my own front door, looking myself in the eyes and demanding answers, but I'm scared. Not of what he'll do, I'm scared he'll be better than me, smarter, stronger, ready. I'm scared I'll look in his eyes and not see me at all anymore, just the person I was supposed to become before the glitch. So now I live in the margins, a ghost haunting my own life, watching from the outside while my reflection lives for me. If you're hearing this, pay attention to the little things. The desk that's not quite how you left it, the stranger who waves like they know you, the memory you swear didn't happen, because it's not just deja vu, it might be your replacement getting ready to move in. Story number 3. I drive for work, delivery runs mostly, outskirts of town, rural drop-offs, nothing special. I've been doing it for years, and I know every road within 100 miles like the back of my hand. So I knew something was wrong the moment I turned onto a highway I'd never seen before. It started with a GPS glitch. I was headed to a new client outside of Cedar Grove, a quiet little town in the valley. My usual route was blocked by a wreck, so the GPS rerouted me and said there was a faster back road. I'd never taken it before, but I wasn't running behind, so I figured, sure, let's see what this shortcut is about. The new route took me past the edge of town, through woods I'd never driven through, thick trees pressed close to the road, no cell signal, the kind of place where the sky feels heavier somehow. Then I saw the turn-off. No road sign, no markings, just faded asphalt lane leading into the trees. My GPS said, merge onto Route 47. Here's the thing, there is no Route 47. Never has been. I stopped the car, pulled out a paper map. Yeah, I still carry one. And double-checked. Nothing. No 47. Not on my GPS. Not on my map. Not even online when I got service later. But in that moment, it was right there. A freshly paved 2-lane highway. Smooth, clean. No potholes, no traffic. Like it had been made just for me. I should have turned around. I know that now. But something about it felt inviting, like the road wanted me to follow it. So I did. At first, everything was fine. The trees gave way to open fields. And I figured maybe this was just some new construction no one had updated the maps for yet. It happens sometimes. But then I noticed the signs. They weren't like normal highway signs. The front was wrong, too thin, too perfect, like someone had generated them in a simulation. One read, Welcome to Ravel. Another, Scenic overlook ahead, 3 miles. I'd never heard of Ravel, not in this state, not anywhere. I passed a gas station on the left, old style pumps, no logo, looked like it hadn't been used in decades, and then things got weird. I passed a car going the other way, same model as mine, same colour, same dent in the front bumper. I blinked, checked my mirrors, it was gone. 10 minutes later I passed another one, identical. This one had a busted headlight, just like mine. Then I passed it again. Same car, same exact license plate. It was me. I slammed on the brakes, got out of the car, and looked down the road. Empty. Dead silent. The air felt wrong, thick somehow, like walking through molasses. No birds, no wind, just that smooth humming silence you only hear in dreams. I tried to turn around, but there was no shoulder, no place to U-turn, so I kept driving. The sky started shifting after that. The blue deepened into something closer to indigo, and the clouds, they stopped moving, just sat there like someone had paused them mid-animation. That's when I saw the town. Ravel. It rose up out of nowhere. One moment it was all fields and trees, the next, sidewalks, lampposts, and storefronts, neat and clean, too clean. I drove down Main Street slowly. No people, no cars, but every building was perfect. Fresh paint, bright awnings, store windows full of products, shoes, groceries, radios, but all the price tags were blank. And then I saw the diner. It looked familiar, like one from my childhood. I parked outside and walked in. A bell jingled above the door. The smell of bacon and coffee hit me like a memory. And there, in the booth by the window, I was sitting there. Not a look-alike, not someone similar. Me. Same face, same clothes, same tired eyes. I, looked up and smiled. "Finally," he said, "you made it." I froze, my mouth went dry. "What is this?" I asked. He didn't answer, just slid a cup of coffee across the table towards the empty seat. "You'll understand soon," he said, "but you can't go back." I ran. Didn't look back, just jumped in my car and floored it. The town blurred past me. Buildings melted into the trees. The road twisted in ways that didn't make sense, looping back on itself, doubling over. My GPS spun like a roulette wheel. At one point it showed me floating in the middle of an ocean. Eventually I saw a road sign I recognised. That's when my cell service flickered back. I was on Route 12, about 10 miles from Cedar Grove. Somehow I'd looped back. I pulled over and puked on the side of the road. I never found Route 47 again. It's not on any map. Locals swear there's no town called Ravel anywhere in the state. But here's the thing. Last week my GPS glitched again. Just for a second the screen flickered, and in the upper corner the name Ravel appeared. Just for a heartbeat, like the road was still waiting. Story number 4. It started with the mirror fogging up wrong. You know how, when you shower, steam creeps across the glass from the bottom to the top. That's how it's always been. Always. But one morning it went the other way. Fog started at the top of the mirror and rolled down, like gravity had flipped to steam only. I stared at it for a while, confused. Chalked it up to weird air currents and bad ventilation. Then I noticed something else. My reflection blinked too slowly. It sounds dumb, but when I blinked, he blinked just after, like he was copying me, not reflecting. I laughed nervously, waved, stuck out my tongue. He copied everything, but it was always just a beat behind. My stomach dropped. It wasn't lag. It was imitation. The next day it was gone. Everything was normal again. I started thinking maybe I dreamt it, or hallucinated from lack of sleep. I work long hours. Stress gets to you. But then it happened again, and this time the reflection smiled before I did. It was slight, a twitch of the lips, but I swear to you, I hadn't moved yet. I left the bathroom immediately, shaved in the kitchen sink for a week after that. But one night I got up to pee and forgot. I wandered in, flipped on the light, and he was already there, standing in the mirror, staring at me, his hands pressed against the glass like he was trying to push through, and his eyes, they weren't mine anymore. They were too wide, too dark, like the pupils had swallowed the whole iris. He mouthed something I couldn't hear. I didn't want to. I backed out of the room and slammed the door. I covered the mirror with a towel. The next morning, the towel was on the floor, and written in the fog, "Let me out." I moved out that weekend. A new apartment had no mirrored bathroom, but every once in a while I catch my reflection blinking too slow in a store window or smiling when I'm not, and I know he's still there, waiting. Story number 5. I know what it feels like not to exist anymore. Not like dying, it's worse. Being unremembered. It started when I visited my parents' house for my dad's birthday. My younger sister answered the door. She blinked at me like I was a stranger. "Can I help you?" she said. "Very funny," I laughed. "It's me, Dan." She looked uncomfortable. "I think you've got the wrong house." I pushed past her. My dad was in the kitchen. My mum was in the garden. Both froze when they saw me. "Who are you?" Mum asked, wide eyes. "Mum, it's me, Danny, your son." She backed away. "I don't have a son." I thought they were messing with me, a cruel joke, but they called the cops when I wouldn't leave. I showed them my ID, my birth certificate, photos. My parents were in them, so was I. Same house, same kitchen. The cops checked my ID, said it wasn't in the system, said I had no birth record, no social. They let me go thinking I was some kind of lunatic. I reached out to my friends. Same story. No one remembered me. Not even Amy, my girlfriend for 4 years. I went back to the bookstore where I worked. My nameplate was gone. My replacement, a guy named Marcus, said he'd always had that job. I checked my bank account. Closed. My apartment when I got home? Rented to someone else. My keys didn't work. It was like the whole world had decided I was a mistake and erased me. I live in motels now. I pay cash and drift. I still exist. I know I do. But I'm not a part of the system anymore. I'm not even a memory of it. And I've started seeing flyers around town. Missing person posters with my face. But the name underneath? It's not mine. Story number 6. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the world just glitches? Like when the lights flicker but there's no storm, or when the sound of your phone delays by a second too long. I started noticing time glitching. The first time was small. I was at a red light, tapping my fingers on my wheel. The light turned green, then red again before I could move. Just blink, and then back to red, like I'd imagined it. Then it happened again. A barista handed me my drink, said, "Have a great," and froze, mid-word, mid-blink. The whole world went still. Cars outside, people in line, like everything had been paused. Only I could move. I touched the barista's arm. Nothing. No response. No blinking. Then everything snapped back. She finished, "Day," like nothing had happened. I started calling it the static between seconds because when it happened, I could hear this soft hum like static on a dead TV channel. It buzzed at the edge of my hearing. It kept happening more often. I started catching things during the freezes, movement, shapes in the corners, people standing too close to me, watching, and still always expressionless. But the moment time resumed, they were gone. One day I followed one. Time froze when I was walking down the street. I stepped carefully, air thick with a buzzing hum, and there he was, tall, pale, wearing a black coat with no eyes. He turned and walked into a building that wasn't there a moment before, just appeared out of nowhere. I followed. Inside nothing made sense. Rooms looped, hallways curled into themselves. Time flickered like a broken bulb. Then I saw them, dozens, hundreds of them, all watching monitors of us, of normal people living our lives. The screen showed me brushing my teeth, another showing me sleeping, and then I saw the one watching me. It smiled. The room exploded into static. My ears rang. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was in my bed, like nothing had happened. But every time I blink, I hear the static now, just a little, like something is watching, still waiting for the next freeze. That's all for this evening. Sweet dreams.